Hey, it's Jeffrey Gurian here for Comedy Matters TV, and I've done shoots in all kinds of wild places, but today is the wildest because I'm here in my own apartment. We're doing a shoot for the documentary film The Business of Comedy, which I co-produced along with exec producers Gary Licker and Scott Sobel, and I'm here interviewing rising comedy star Sasheer Zamata. So tell us first, how'd you get started in comedy?
I started doing improv in 2007. Or I guess I dabbled a little bit before then. I knew what improv was. In middle school, I watched like every episode of Whose Line Is It Anyway, the Drew Carey version. And there was a comedy sports in Indianapolis where I grew up. And I auditioned for my high school troupe and made it, but then quit because it interfered with my show choir rehearsals, and at the time, show choir was my life. But then later in college, when I was doing musicals, one of the directors said that I should probably audition for the improv group because they thought I was funny. And so I auditioned, didn't make it, and then made my own group, and it's still there. And then I knew what UCB was, Upright Citizens Brigade Theater, because the touring company came to my school, and I saw them, and I was like, oh, wherever they came from, I want to go there. So when I moved to New York in 2009, I took classes very shortly after I moved here and just stayed there. And now I'm on a Herald team there, and started doing sketch there as well. And then I started doing stand-up shortly after I started taking classes at UCB, which was like August of '09. And I just wanted to do it because people in my classes were talking about it, and they were talking about it as if it was a hard thing, and I like doing challenging things. So I went to a mic by myself, and I didn't die. I survived, and I was like, oh, I should probably just keep doing this, and then I did.
And how does that feel to you when you're on stage? Like, try and explain that feeling that you get, like when you're actually on stage performing.
I love being in front of people and performing. I don't know if it's like a narcissistic thing or just I think I have something to say. I don't know. There was a lot of self-doubt when I first started doing stand-up of just like, well, who do you think you are? And why do you think people want to know what you have to say? But then I got over that and said, oh, I think I have something funny to say. And if not, then people won't book me on shows, but people keep booking me, so I think there's something there. And I guess I knew I wanted to perform sometime in college because I did this play for Colored Girls, and it's such a emotional, human-based play, and just like the writing and the performance and the experience was just great for me to be in it. But then afterwards, the audience came up and people were crying and talking about how much they felt so close to the words, even though these experiences were very like particular experiences to the characters in the show. But it was like so ung that no matter what I'm saying, even if it's like so far from whatever anyone else is feeling, they can feel something from it. And I was like, I just want to make people feel something no matter what when I'm on stage. If it's like anger or happiness or sadness, I want them to feel something. So that's what keeps me on stage, I guess.
Cool. So you do so many things in comedy. You know, you improv, you're an improver, I guess you would call that. You're a stand-up comic, you're a writer, you're an actress. How would you yourself classify yourself as a performer?
I'm a comedian. I'm an actress, a writer, an improviser, and a stand-up comedian. And I am a full-time comedian. And I wasn't one until last year. Last year was the first year I was able to fully sustain myself from comedic ventures. Before that, I was doing a lot of odd jobs of like clothing store stuff and promotional gigs and a lot of really tiring things. But now I just make money from like stand-up gigs here and there, or like road shows, or coaching improv, or shoots. I'm doing a lot of like TV stuff, commercial gigs, booking jobs. It's still a lot of little things all over the place, but they're enough to sustain me right now. Yeah.
And now, not in creative terms, but in business terms, how would you classify yourself as a performer, if you can see the distinction between the two?
I guess I would say I'm an actress first, or that's what's paying me the most money right now. But stand-up is the thing that's taking up most of my time. I mean, I don't know how to label myself. I guess I'm one of those like slash artists, like actress slash stand-up slash improviser slash writer. And whichever gives me the most money is the one I am at the moment. But yeah, stand-up has been the most lucrative things at different parts of the year, so it just depends on what I'm doing with my schedule at the time.
You did most of your training at UCB. These days on TV, most of the people that you see, I feel, have more of an improv background than a stand-up background. Do you think that improv is more helpful than stand-up in getting a TV thing?
UCB prepares you for working with other people. I don't know if they necessarily prepare you for creating your own sitcom or like having meetings with industry people, or they definitely help you out. There's like a professional development aspect of it. It's a training center. You learn how to do improv, which is one of the ways that you can perform on the stage. You learn how to do sketch, which is also a way you can showcase your work. And ideally, industry will come see those shows and then hire you. That's just one way to do it. You could also do the same thing with stand-up. You go to a club, have a showcase, people see you, and ask you if you have more material that could possibly translate to television. I'm not sure which one's better. I've been seen all over the place. UCB is where I got all my management. All my management has seen me on that stage and then plucked me as soon as they saw me. But I've also gotten a lot of opportunities from being seen at stand-up shows. I do like UCB because it seems like I guess more like a school, like a nurturing bubble where you can kind of grow and try and fail and try and fail, and it's not the pressure of like having to have the perfect 5 minutes all the time or the perfect set in front of a certain group of people. You can like still work on stuff and have no one see it until you're ready, and then have people see it when you're ready, and then hopefully get a job from it. So that is definitely beneficial, and it's such a network of people, such a great group of people to connect with, that you're gonna have somebody that you want to know in one of your classes or in a show that you're doing. Like if you're in a sketch class, you could probably run into somebody who knows how to edit stuff, and someone else who knows how to shoot stuff, and someone else who knows how to get a location for you, and then you can create something together. So that aspect I really like, because it's a community of people that like to help each other.
You know, and stand-up, on the other hand, is more of a solitary thing because basically you're working alone.
Stand-up seems like it could be a little harder, where you have to like find people that you actually like working with, as opposed to being forced to work with people in an environment. But I do have groups of stand-ups that like working with each other and like helping each other out. It just depends.
Okay, so now, because this is a documentary on the business of comedy, I have to address the financial aspect of it. Comedy is probably the only business where you're asked to work for free a lot.
Yeah, I'm lucky enough that I do get paid sometimes to do stand-up. It's not enough for me to live off of it, but I like that I get paid. It makes me feel like I'm a working comedian, as opposed to just like doing shows for the fun of it. Although I still do shows for the fun of it because it's still fun to me. And stand-up's the only thing that pays me other than acting and writing, but like improv I don't get paid for that. But I've never complained about that, because it's, I guess as far as the UCB system, I'm just happy to be on their stage. I feel like I do get something in return. It's like a symbiotic relationship where I can do shows for them and people will come see that, but people will see me and then hopefully hire me for something, or sign me to something, or use me in a project that they have. So it's like exposure versus money in that aspect. So yeah, I don't know. I honestly, if the concept of getting paid every time I'm on stage wasn't a thing, I'd probably still be on stage all the time.
So, last question. Comedy clubs started in like 1963 when Bud Friedman opened the Improv. That's like 50 years ago and way, way before your time. But while you were growing up, who were some of the people, or some of the women, I should say, that influenced you to go into comedy?
Yeah, I guess comedy in general seems like as an art form, seems like a young thing. Like improv also started like in the 60s and 70s. I guess stand-up wasn't a definition until then either. And in those times, I think it may have been more of like a boys' club, a white boys' club, and it still very much is. And my icons are like Lucille Ball, Carol Burnett, like pretty ladies that make funny faces. Those are always my go-to idols. But I don't have too many that look like me. I mean, I do enjoy. I love Wanda Sykes. I love Monique. There's people who perform that are great. I don't necessarily feel like I relate to them, but I do enjoy their work. And I just wish there were more. I wish I could see more people that look like me, even if they're not saying the things that I believe in. I wish there were more people like that. But I think one thing that can change the diversity or the visibility of diverse performers are just having more diversity in the decision-making process, more producers, more writers, more directors that are of color or of a different gender, just to get a different perspective on it, so it's not the same thing over and over again of us seeing the same type of comedy or same type of comedians all the time. And I would like to try to do that. I'm writing a whole lot for myself and other people. I'm trying to just get more stories out there and more voices out there, because what we do as comedians is represent some version of reality. We're giving a microcosm of what's happening, some sort of lens on what happens to people on a daily basis. And you can't have that if you have one viewpoint. You can't do that if you don't have multiple different voices saying different things, because that's what life is. That's what the world is. That's what New York is. Like, we're all just different people. It'd be nice to hear more opinions on it.
Thanks so much for coming in today, Sasheer. And you know what? With your talent, I wouldn't be surprised if you got Saturday Night Live. Anyway, this has been Jeffrey Gurian for Comedy Matters TV, signing out. So I don't know if I'm psychic or not, but since that interview, Sasheer Zamata has been cast on the new season of Saturday Night Live. And she's the first African-American female to be on that show in the last 6 years, ever since Maya Rudolph left. And there's crazy press about her. Look, a big article came out in the New York Post all about Sasheer. So I'm really proud that I have her in my catalog of Comedy Matters videos.